Well, first of all, there's just so many incredibly delightful people here, and the hosts, the people running it, Neil and Al and so on, they just go out of their
So
way to try to
helpful.
make it
Luke,
a really wonderful
Shannon.
experience for everybody.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And has your film actually premiered yet?
No, this is a sneak
yeah,
preview.
that's
It's a work in progress sneak preview. The film is not finished yet. In fact, at the end of the film, we showed a little clip of one of the additional items, and there's some other wonderful items that are going to be added to the film. So this is a work in progress sneak preview, one of the first opportunities people have had to see this before it's released to the world.
I think it's a super interesting topic, the idea of a world passport. It seems like such an obvious thing, but at the same time, such a difficult undertaking. At the same time, what do you want the audience who see this to feel when they, watch the picture?
Well, the amazing thing is we send a survey out after each sneak preview we've had. We had one at the Woodstock Film Festival where we had a standing ovation and wonderful feedback forms that helped us to make further improvements in the film. Then after we tinkered with it, we had another one at Moondance, got wonderful feedback there. Also, they even gave it an award, the documentary award, and we also got feedback that helped us make further improvements. And now we think we're ready to go. This was kind of the final test before we're ready to take it on the road. And the feedback forms, people say it makes them feel moved, awed, inspired, hopeful for a better world. People say it's about time, and kind of like what you said. On the one hand, it seems so obvious. We are citizens of one world. It's obvious, and yet, wow, why is it so hard for us to do something that's so obvious?
So, are there any films at the festival that you're particularly excited to see or have already seen?
Well, we've actually have quite a few that we're planning to see now that our film has shown. Before our film was shown, I have to admit we were a little focused on trying to get ready for ours and so on. So there were some wonderful films I missed seeing. But for example, the one on North Korea, for instance, wow, what a story! Of combining sports and political topics. I love tying two topics together. I mean, we're tying together a song and dance man and saving the world. It was a song and dance man on a mission to save the world, and then here we have a major sports figure also on a mission to save the world. So there's a parallel in that film, and we really enjoyed a little discussion afterwards on that as well.
Absolutely perfect. One last question then. Yeah, can we see the world passport?
Yeah, is that the question?
Yeah.
There it is.
And what countries will that get you into?
Oh, well, let's let Melanie say something since she's showing you the passport.
Here we have your beautiful passport that you would like to have very shortly. And what it is a basic human rights tool. And so, does it work? Does a hammer work? It's just the same thing. You have to work the hammer yourself. So basically, what you should do is apply for one and get one because you want to bring your loyalty to the top level. So you can be a citizen of your city, of your country, and then also the world. So it's a very good idea for everyone to have. And it's very critical for someone who doesn't have papers. Let's say you lost your papers and people don't believe that you're from England. You have to go to a refugee camp, which is kind of like a prison. So,
yeah. I mean, I guess to answer your question more specifically, it's up to the issue of the country that, countries don't have to accept a passport from anywhere. It's up to them. And each border individual is different. We've had, for instance, right now, we have Yassine Bey, who was in the star in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and in so many other major films, and a rap star. He had gotten the stamps in his world passport numerous times from South Africa. And then the last time they refused it and detained him, and there was articles about it around the world, including mention of our movie in the New York Times. And the legal team from the World Service Authority went to his defense, provided him with information, and and our film is helping to make the case. We've released a little excerpt that shows the historic origins of the World Passport, that it's been something that's been going since 1951, and that it's been a powerful human rights tool that's mandated by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And so we hope that's going to help his case that's coming up very shortly in the courts. So the answer is, you may not get in, you might get detained like he did, or you might get in, but it's more difficult with it's getting more difficult, I think, than it was in the past, but it really does depend on the country. When I went to Venezuela, they had it right in their machine, Mundo.
Yeah.
Other places, it's a big challenge. So it's really, the answer is it depends.
But we want to get this movie out so more people have this document and it has more power. So
Once
it's very
more
important.
people are aware of it, the main problem is people who aren't aware of it and they think, oh, this is just some, they think it's, well, someone said once to me, they said, oh, well, this is a counterfeit passport. I said, oh, are you saying it's a counterfeit copy of the real world passport? And he said, well, there's no such thing. I said, so you're saying it's a counterfeit copy of something that doesn't exist? He said, he turned to my wife and he said, are you with him? Are you US citizens? She said, we were born in the US, we live in the US. He said, take him and get him out of here. So we went through anyway. But
So for anyone,
I had my American passport too.
so for anyone who wants to get themselves a world passport, where should they go and how do you get one?
Okay, you just go to worldservice.org and you pay the issuing fee. You can do different years. You can do 8 years for $100, and you need
Or
2
3 years for just
for
65, I think it is.
It might have changed.
With
and you have
shipping.
Your two pictures, your passport pictures, and then the usual thing for a passport.
But see, the real thing, the key for us is not so much that this is a travel document as it's a symbol of our connection to humanity as a whole. In our movie, really, our main purpose is not to get people using world passports. Our main purpose is to help us realize that we are citizens of one planet, and that most of the problems we have is because we've carved up this one planet into separate nation states that gives us the inability for we the people to solve the climate problem, to solve the problems of war. I mean, Gary Davis, the star of our film, was in a bomber plane bombing the city of Brandenburg when his own brother was killed, and he was horrified. Why am I bombing people? Because they're on the wrong side of some invisible line I can't even see from the air? This is insane. And he gets home and he sees the Hiroshima bomb, and he says, my God, humanity's in trouble, but what can I do? I'm one individual. Why weren't the people who arrested my brother arrested? Who killed my brother arrested? Why weren't the people why am I not arrested for bombing and killing these people in their homes and schools and factories? And when he thought about it, he realized it's because there's no law at the global basis. If there was a law, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to help create world law. And he went to the United Nations and did a grand act of political theater, interrupting the UN that was meeting in Paris that year in 1948, saying the nations he represents divide us and lead us to the brink of total war, and he called on them to hold elections of a government of, by, and for the people of the planet. Well, he was actually applauded by many of the delegates, but he was also ejected, but this raised a storm of protest in Paris in favor of him, which helped get the Universal Declaration of Human Rights passed. So it's an important lost piece of history that we think needs to be rediscovered and to help empower us all to realize we're citizens of one world, and that now, with all the great tools of the internet, we can evolve a much more advanced way of governing. We don't have to be stuck in the old idea of representative government where we, the people, are left out and all the money and political interests rule things. And we don't have to be in mob rule where it's, the majority rules over the minority. We can have a more creative, dynamic, interactive system that helps bring to the top the highest and best wisdom of each individual and of the whole planet.